which is the mayor's reconsideration of defeated motions regarding Cathet Pickleball Association request for city-owned land. I'd like to ask our corporate officer to explain the procedure.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just for the, as a reminder to council and as an educational piece for those in the gallery, the matter before us before council at 11.3 is mayor's reconsideration of the motion that was defeated at a previous council meeting with respect to which is set out in the agenda. The process for this under section 131 of the community charter provides that the mayor may, subject to certain conditions, require that council reconsider and vote again on a matter. And the statutory right that's associated with this process dispenses with the first step in the two-step procedure that's outlined in the procedure bylaw. So this is a statutory process. And once I finish speaking and you call the matter, it will be considered to be opened up and on the floor as if it had not yet been voted upon, and you can take it from there in terms of discussion, debate, and voting again on the matter.
Thank you. So I'd like to comment as to the reason for rescinding, and that is at the ICE-T meeting, which is the meeting dealing with economic development opportunity funding through what's called the Island Coastal Economic Trust. There were a number of mayors that commented to me about the number of different benefits that they have seen with pickleball facilities within their community. And it was a combination of economic as well as social in terms of the benefit of having ages from 6 to 90 able to go out and interact together. From an economic point of view, I dropped the puck on Sunday at the under 13 championships. And the president of the association made the point that this tournament brought over 500 people to Powell River for 5 days, at least. We don't know how many stayed longer. So doing a rough calculation of the amount of money that this brought into our community, it's somewhere between 250,000 and $500,000. Since pickleball is the fastest growing sport in Canada, it's reasonable to assume that given Powell River's long history of hosting championships and tournaments, that we would be a prime location to hold major pickleball tournaments, which would therefore give, again, a significant economic opportunity for those in our city that are providing a range of services. And finally, I had a discussion with Dr. Cam Mahaliak because I had read probably a half a dozen reports on the importance of a sport like pickleball to really reducing mental health issues with individuals in a community. And he also provided a letter of support to council, emphasizing that, yes, there is significant evidence that suggests this. So this was my reason for bringing forth the rescinding motion. So seeing no, Councillor Pomp.
I don't see anybody else jumping into the fray at this point, so I'm going to raise my hand. I've got a couple of comments to make in this regard. And just bear with me because this is something near and dear to my heart. When I first came here, I was hired to be a physical education instructor at Ocean View Junior Secondary at the time, way back in 1984. My life has been filled with sport, activity, coaching throughout my time previous to coming here in 84 and throughout my 40 years as a teacher in this district. Before I came here, our teams didn't win very often. Well, I spearheaded that movement. We brought in coaches. We were winning tournaments, championships, provincial honors for a number of years when I was in that capacity for my first 20 years here. And I worked with great dedicated teachers, Carol Lambert, Tony Rice, Ken Hawley, Cam Miller. And I was on a ferry most weekends traveling out of this community with a van full of kids. And I can say without a doubt, in a post-COVID environment, we need more sport in our community for mental health, for health overall. Not only the youth, but for all the people that help build this great city that we live in. And many of them are here tonight. Our seniors should never be overlooked, and they should be honored, and we should be working diligently to provide the type of facilities that help facilitate their health and well-being and longevity. So I am in total support of this facility at least being put on the pedestal with a piece of land that the tremendous volunteer and group that is here tonight would work diligently to see come to fruition down the road, and it won't happen. I was hoping in the short term that there may be a big building come available so more people could play this wonderful game and enjoy all the benefits. That hasn't happened. And council is here revisiting this again. I was sad to see it turned down the first time. And I'm going to say one other thing, Your Worship, please bear with me. We recently went to the regional district and we were asking for them to upgrade their contributions to our recreation complex in the term of their annual funding to support that great facility. And it took some time this term to get them to come forward with last year's donation and come forward and pay up, but they have, and we're working to try to increase that contribution. But at that meeting, I took it upon myself to say, when I was first elected here in the city, there were plans on the shelf for pavement or upgrade to our harbors or our water system that were there when the opportunity for funding came forward. And thank goodness the work had been done. And we were able to access millions of dollars to upgrade those facilities because those plans were in place. Well, I didn't ask for a recreation plan at that meeting in any way to stifle the pickleball movement that is so dear to so many of our citizens' heart at this time. So that's why I'm saying we as a council need to step up, provide them with some certainty in the piece of property that they can at least go out and raise funds to try to build one of these days. And it's not going to happen in any short order. Because if you played pickleball and you have to be sitting on the sideline waiting for a court, that's not a lot of fun. And that's what they're doing right now. When the Safeway facility was open, you could book a time slot, go in there, play for an hour, hour and a half, and not be hindered. But now they're all crammed into, like this place right by my house, which is Ocean View Gym. I walk by there every Saturday morning, and people are in there playing pickleball from 8 o'clock all day long, because that's all they've got. And that's not good enough for 300 pickleball players in Powell River. So I'm in total support of this, and I appreciate the mayor, his endeavor to bring this forward again.
Councillor Dowd.
I'm not going to spend a long time talking about this. I voted in favor of this motion the first time it was here. I explained why I was doing it. No reason to change my support for the motion now, and that's what I'll be sticking with.
Councillor Southcott.
Thank you, Worship. I really wish there was a motion before us that I could support, because I don't think anyone at this table doesn't support pickleball. It would be insane not to, for all the reasons that we've heard and believe in. But the reason I can't is because the recommendation in the report attached to this item from our staff explains very clearly why this particular location cannot be supported at this moment, maybe in the future. However, after many hours of conversations over the past week and a half or so, seeking to find some way around this so that something could happen positively for the Cadet Pickleball Association, I still did not get to that point. That doesn't mean I don't still firmly believe that there are various other possibilities. So I think we need to keep looking in that direction. And consequently, I can't support this particular resolution, which really makes me very sad, because I absolutely support pickleball.
Councillor Isaacs.
Thank you, Mayor. Similar to Councillor Dowd, don't want to speak long, but haven't received enough new information to change my vote from last time. It's very clear that this is a high popularity sport, that there's a lot of people behind it. It supports health, community, social, economic benefits and outcomes. And it's clear that the recreation complex is the best site in the view of QPA for their growing membership. So all of that holds true. I had a friend who's a senior, who's an avid pickleball player, come up to me after the last vote, quite upset, and just trying to understand why I didn't vote to support this motion. And I think, what I tried to communicate to her is, because of where we are at the time of the age of the recreation complex, the uncertainty that we have about the future of the building, what we're going to have to build instead, or in addition to it in the future to retain recreation as a whole, including the pool and the rinks in our community, the timeliness of financial and governance arrangements with the regional district for the future of the rec complex, anything that potentially hamstrings those long-term plans for recreation as a whole for our community is too high of a risk for me. And so while all of the things about the value of pickleball for community are true, to me, it's at risk of recreation as a whole for our community. I realize there is land around the rec complex, but City of Victoria went through a referendum on a site for one of their rec centers, and whether to tear down and build on the same site or build on a different site in order to maintain continuity of recreation in their community. I don't want to be in a situation where we feel like we don't have the choices we have to build the building for the future of recreation in our community, because we made this decision without the building report that's in progress, and without a master plan to look at recreation as a whole. Because as highly supported as pickleball are, there are a lot of fantastic sports that are highly supported by people of all ages and communities. So pickleball is a huge one, and they're one of many. And so I'm thinking about recreation as a whole for this community. And to me, the risk is too high to not have those questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to comment on the responsibility of council, which is strategic, versus the role of staff, which is to provide informed information. And I'm going to draw your attention to the issue of Veyron's proposal of a 40-plus unit apartment building on Franklin. When this came to council, staff had made a recommendation that a significant number of conditionalities be placed on that development. The president of Veyron made it very clear that if those conditions were enacted, it would be economically unfeasible to build that facility. So it was very encouraging that 4 members of council saw that their strategic objective and their responsibilities to be strategic voted in favor of the Veyron proposal going ahead. So as a result of that, we have 42 units for rent in Powell River, and we gain about $20,000 a year in increased revenue. So to me, the decision here is strategic. And when the motion was put forward, it provided the opportunity for a lease agreement to be put in place that could have timing, which would allow a plan to go ahead. And so what that would accomplish is that the Pickleball Association would then have a document that they could use to ensure financing. And so what this means is that we could, not we, because I'm not running for re-election, but council could be sitting here in a year and a half excited about the opening of an 8-court pickleball facility. And that really would be the result of this council making a strategic decision. And we all know, I taught management and economics at the University of Guelph. And strategic thinking was an important part. And we always emphasized that when you're doing strategic work, there is always an upside and a downside. It's not strategic if you don't have to evaluate the pluses and the minuses. So in this case, I believe that the motion is on the floor really emphasizes all of the pluses, and it deals with the issue that the staff have put forward with regard to timing. And the other thing that's important in terms of what would be required from staff, interesting thing about the Pickleball Association is they have a board and membership that includes lawyers, accountants, people that are very familiar in writing, and they could simply draft the lease agreement for review by the city. So this would eliminate any concern that the staff would not be able to allocate the required man hours to get this done. So in summary, I see this as a very positive opportunity for the council to make a strategic decision. Councillor Plum.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Your Worship, that the motion is on the board.
It is. It is on, and it's.
Oh, I
yes.
just got one last component that I want to speak to on this. And that is, we have a dedicated group of volunteers that are here from the association tonight. That association has a lot of work ahead of them to raise funds in order to put a facility like this in place. If we vote this down tonight, that group of dedicated citizens and volunteers are stuck in the mud with nowhere to go, nowhere to turn, nothing to do. Instead, sit and wait for perhaps something to come available that they can utilize. This, I never asked for a Parks and Rec report to sit on a shelf. I wanted that for funding, but I didn't want it in the way of this group to be able to go out and raise the funds needed for this type of facility. If we pass the motion tonight, that at least gives them a path forward to do their fine work that they would like to do. That's all they're asking here, and that's what the motion refers to, Your Worship.
Yes, Councillor Armida.
Thank you, Mayor. After we discussed this at our last meeting, whenever this came up a few weeks ago. I went back into our archive of meetings and looked back into the fall of 2024 when the Pickleball Association first started coming to council. This might have been their second presentation at the time. And I watched that video, or at least the presentation that the delegation had done at the time. And there was something that was shared by the CAO at that moment that possibly happened so quickly that it might have easily been overlooked, which is why I wanted to go back and see. The CAO shared at the time that one of the hurdles that the city was facing was that there was no Parks and Recreation Master Plan, and that was on city staff's radar, and that was November 2024. Of course, we all know in 2025, we were short several key positions and staff to be able to bring something like that forward. Now we have filled a lot of those vacancies, and now staff has been able to put that on the agenda, or on the radar, I guess, for 2027. I wish we were in a position, facility-wise, that the complex wasn't at the stage that it was at, or half of our buildings in the city weren't at the stage they were at. I have no problem supporting pickleball as a whole. I have been to many of their community events when I've been able to, and others that I wanted to attend that I couldn't. And I was happy to be part of the pickleball subcommittee that the mayor set up, and stated from the start that the complex wasn't ideal. We were set up to do Timberlane, and due to the QPA's resistance to the facility by Timberlane, that was rejected. That would have been the lease of land that would have got them to the place that is being discussed today, as to working on fundraising. There are other parcels of land in the city that would also be ideal, but due to environmental issues or other issues, we're not able to work with them right now. And so I can't support this right now for the same reason as the complex lands, to be a little bit punny, have some complexity to them. And without having a plan of what that is going to entail in the next 20 years, I wouldn't want to put anything on there yet. And pickleball is talking now, and yes, that facility that they had is now a grocery store. But if we were to put priority of one recreational group over another, we're going to have a few other groups come in to ask for more. You know, softball has 300 members. Minor baseball has 300 members. And Mr. Bretsoff will probably tell you the communications he has with those organizations, with their needs and their demands for more stuff. I'm sure youth soccer is no different. There is no shortage of needs in our community for recreation, and I would love to provide all of them. And in due time, I hope I'm alive and still here to see all that growth happen, because I know it's going to take time. But at this point, without having a plan for that, I don't want to just throw something together and then see what happens in 10 years when we're ready for the next step. I'd rather prepare for it. And I still look for other lands that could be available. Maybe we got parking lots that are sitting there empty, some of them privately owned, where private owners are paying taxes on them. I don't know what those taxes are, but I can imagine a flat piece of land is costing a private owner a few $1,000s, and maybe some sort of partnership can be arranged, because the QPA would get a permissive tax exemption, and the taxes on that land would be no more. Maybe something like that can be arranged. We got to look a little outside the box, but there's been so much focus on the complex site that we need to start looking elsewhere to move forward.
Any further? Okay, I'm going to call the motion. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is defeated.